Hey there, everyone. Let's watch Gotham. This was episode 9, Harvey Dent. You know how in the previous episodes I said, you know what this series needs? Some more clumsy foreshadowing. Oh wait, no, I didn't say that, because this series has way too much of it. Clumsy foreshadowing. If you recall in the last episode, the clumsy foreshadowing was, oh, the guy who was asking about dead bodies ends up being a serial killer. Clumsy foreshadowing. That's what I'm talking about. That's what most of this episode was. It kind of meandered along, wasn't super interesting, none of the plots, but the main plot being a guy was released from prison by the Russians and Fish Mooney in order to blow up some stuff and steal money from Falcone to hurt him. Other shit that happened was Penguin confronted Liza, and now Liza kind of works for him, probably. And Bruce and Selena started hanging out. Bruce and Selena hanging out is both the best part of the episode and something I have a problem with. How the fuck can the people that they kind of grew together, the first kind of person that each of them kind of interacted with in a special way, not necessarily saying they love or like each other, but them sort of being into each other and somewhat is good. Alfred kept cock-blocking Bruce, but yeah, no, that's a really good, well-written part. But on the other hand, once they both start dressing in costumes, they're gonna be like, huh, you mean that person who fucking was a thief named Selena Kyle, who everyone called Cat, and moved like that, and then she's not like, oh hey, that's clearly the boy whose parents were murdered and was learning how to fight in front of me and learning how to just acting like a fucking weirdo in front of me. That's, it's so fucking obvious. It's clumsy foreshadowing. The characters would know that. It's stupid. It makes the characters seem stupid. Alfred and all that good shit, the training to fight, that's good. The fucking interaction, that's good, but the implications are bad. The bomb stuff, not that interesting. Opening up Arkham and actually putting dudes in there, that's important, but ultimately not too interesting of an episode. It was kind of boring. None of the twists were that good. Selena and Bruce were really the only part of the story that I really felt like paying attention to. Oh, yeah, and on top of that, Harvey Dent gets introduced. Yet another character who should be about the same age as Bruce Wayne, yet again, but instead is fucking way older than him. Harvey is a little bit younger than Gordon for sure, who looks like he's about 30. Harvey looking like he's about 25. But I mean, fuck, I thought they'd do that. Harvey Dent is a good man, and he's always a good man, and he's just a good man. You know, how he is before all the shit goes down. But nope, Two-Face kinda existed, or Big Bad Harv kinda existed fucking before Batman. Who is going to be left for Batman to find? One of the most important criticisms of the Batman mythos, and one that always comes down and is such a great through line to have in the comics, despite the fact it's a bit overused by now, but it was really good when it just started being used and started being explored as an idea, was that Batman creates his villains. Batman's villains are a direct result of Batman fighting crime, because it makes the criminals worse. So people are like, Batman never showed up. It would have been alright. The way Dark Knight does Harvey Dent, isn't perfect. But you know what? It's good. The way Year One and The Long Halloween does Gordon is brilliant. Him being a flawed figure is great. But him being a guy who fucking is clearly a murderer, is clearly gonna start murdering people, he's this close to snapping already. A solid, let's go with 10 to 15 years before Batman. It's like my fucking yawn. Selena and Bruce being about the same age makes sense. I'm fine with her being a little bit older. That's nitpicky. fucking Harvey being this much older isn't nitpicky. That's just fucking legit complaints. Oh god, excuse me, I'm so very sorry. I'm burping a lot tonight, I'm realizing. Sorry, I touch my beard when I think, and I'm trying not to do that because it's a weird thing. But yeah, let me restate. Penguin's great in this episode, for sure. Everybody's a good actor on this show. Nah. Everybody's at least an alright actor. Oh, right, and Barbara's hooking up with Montoya again, for whatever reason. Fucking stupid. And this one's so disappointing after 3 really good episodes. It's just like, fuck, dude. Like, I understand it's just like, storyline says Selena and Bruce have to interact more because they're interesting. Storyline says Bruce has to train more. We need to have an episode here. It's more like, it's like every story except the A story was like, we're ticking stuff off. And the A story was like, fucking someone write around this. Just like, I think it's something like, Fish Mooney's plan ties into A-plot, was written in the script, and then someone else wrote the A-plot like, what, let's just fucking, it's a guy who makes bombs. No, they didn't reference him earlier. They didn't even reference things blowing up until this episode. And then it says it was about a month ago that shit went blowing up. Despite the fact that nobody mentioned it. But hey, unless the first 9 episodes of the show happened in less than a month, which would be fucking ridiculous. Because, like, I would assume, despite the fact that lots of these episodes sort of end here, begin here, and the next one, it still doesn't make any sense for it to be merely days. It makes sense for Penguin to have come back about a month after he left, or about 2 or 3 weeks. If he came back like 2 days later, that'd be bad writing, more so than anything. I don't know. It's just, it's 9 episodes, it's 9 weeks, that's how you do TV. Unless you're doing a miniseries. You don't go by like, fucking each episode's a day. It should be roughly 9 weeks. I don't know. So anyway, Bruce quit school after the last episode. I'm assuming, I think he's being homeschooled. He's actually starting to build a social life with Selena. But fuck, dude, I don't know. This is not a good episode. It was just, it's not good. I'm sorry I'm down this time, but it's just like, it fucking sucked. It was just so boring. Like, just nothing interesting happened. Like, oh, they introduced Harvey Dent. Fucking big deal. Harvey Dent being a great villain. If one of you submitted that for best villains in the last comment section, good on you, man. Way to go. You did it. You fucking predicted the next episode. Yeah, man. Just not good. I got something in my eye. Speaking of, might as well call it here. If you like this episode of my show, not the show, actually, you know what, first of all, let's just say, do you agree with my criticism that this episode sucked a lot of dong? And the writing just wasn't good? No. If you agree, leave a comment. If you disagree, leave a comment. If you have more complex decisions than that, or opinions than that, and you want to be like, well, I like this, and then like this, then do that. Or fucking post a reaction video. Or don't. Probably just write a comment. It's easier. You know? You like this video? Give us a like. If you, I was gonna say if you like this episode, but don't like this episode. Or do. But like, and you know what? No, shut up. This week, or this episode of my show, I'm gonna ask you, is your favorite DC Comics superhero? Because we did DC. I believe we did DC Comics villain last time. Maybe it was just regular comics villain. Well, let's say DC Comics superhero, because that's easier. Is yours like mine, which is a two-way tie between Nightwing and Batgirl, because they're both equally well-written characters that are interesting and three-dimensional and fun? Or is it something else? Are you like, yo, I fucking love Booster Gold. That's cool. Who doesn't like Booster Gold? Actually, lots of people, because they don't know who he is. If you're like, yo, my faves, Green Arrow, got a lot of things about him that's good. Or you could be like, fuck yeah, fucking Jason Todd. In which case, he's not a superhero. You're dumb. You've done that wrong. Jason Todd. Jason Todd shouldn't be your favorite. But if he is, tell me why he's your favorite. Because you know what? Real talks. Let's get real talks about Jason Todd, because I mentioned him. This is a bonus. So let's just go with, like, if you don't want to hear about Jason Todd and my opinions on him, like the video, continue on, hit the back button, subscribe, like, and comment. But commence rant on Jason Todd, and it'll be a mini rant, because I know you don't want to fucking hear about me angry about things. But the reason I don't like Jason Todd as a hero is because he fucking isn't. Just by definition, he's not. He's an anti-hero, but he's not even a fun anti-hero like Punisher or Deadpool. See, Punisher works because other heroes get to be like, Punisher, you fucking go way too far. You're wrong. You're doing wrong things, Frank. Go to jail. But for some reason, especially in the New 52, Batman seems really cool with Red Hood and the Outlaws, and now Red Hood and Arsenal, now that they're like, Starfire, no, Scott Lobdell, don't touch Starfire anymore. It makes us feel uncomfortable. Because Red Hood works so well as a villain. Under the Hood / Under the Red Hood, if we're talking about the movie or the show, it doesn't matter. He works so well as a villain. That's like, he's such a fucking holy shit villain, despite the fact that it was sort of like, you read Hush and you're like, oh yeah, Jason Todd, he's never coming back. Like, in a few years later, they were like, no, he's coming, he's back, yeah, it's Jason Todd. But it's such a good movie / graphic novel, because it's just, he works as a villain. It's Batman's past. He knows everything about Batman. He could conceivably beat Batman, Jason Todd, because he's younger, and he has all the knowledge, and he uses murder. So there's a conceivable chance that he could be Batman. You're like, holy shit, he might actually defeat him. He probably wouldn't, on account of he's Batman. He doesn't usually die. He only dies sometimes. But yeah, that's what makes him so fucking interesting, man. Like, he works as a villain because he's like the fucking anti-Batman. Why do you think, spoiler alert for Arkham Knight, why do you think he's the bad guy in Arkham Knight? I know at the end, he's like, oh, I'm helping you. And Batman's like, I'm gonna spare you, I'm not gonna send you to jail, despite the fact that, fuck, he deserves. He murdered a ton of people. He at least deserves to go to jail / Arkham. But no, of course not. No, he was your friend, so he gets a pass. But, like, he probably killed way more people than Hush. I mean, to be fair, he killed more bad people, but he also probably killed a few good people. I mean, his whole thing is, like, he kills the mob and then takes over it, but that's, like, not cool. The first appearance of Red Hood, he throws a bag of heads on the table. He's like, it's like a bag of heads right here. And it's like, dang. It's not cool. Like, at that point, you kind of gone beyond being able to be a hero. Deadpool gets away with it because Deadpool's funny, and he's cartoonish, and he's lighthearted, and has the dark side to him. He's an interesting character. He's conceivably interesting. But Red Hood, Jason Todd's a serious dude. He wasn't a funny Robin like Nightwing. He wasn't a smart Robin like Tim Drake. He doesn't have a great backstory like Damian Wayne. So what is his story? His story is that he died. That's the most interesting thing that happened to Jason. He was a Robin that was sort of in the middle. He's okay. He came from a tough background. He was a bit harsh in the fighting, I believe. Like, he was kind of a little bit brutal. But other than that, I mean, he's the worst Robin, easily. Right? So it's like, Jason Todd's the worst Robin. So then he becomes Red Hood, and he's a great villain. But then, they use him once, and they're like, well, fucking, we're DC Comics. We're not using somebody once and throwing them away, especially when they're as good as Jason fucking Todd as a villain. So what do? Well, we turn him into an anti-hero. He gets away at the end of Under the Red Hood. Now what? Or Under the Hood, depending on what you want to say. Fuck it. Now what? Well, I don't know. He fucks around. Let's say he just kills people that are bad, and he's like a evil Batman. Or not evil Batman. He's like a dickhead Batman. And that's all he is. He's just as dickish as Batman, but he kills people. But Batman's interesting because he's flawed. They admit that it's like, oh, he's flawed. But for fucking Red Hood, they're just like, no, he kills people. Because he does. And there's never, like, he never learns a lesson, and he never just grows from it and changes. He sort of stops hating Batman and becomes his friend in Batman Incorporated and further, and especially in the New 52, but it's just like, he's still a fucking murderer. Batman should not be cool with it. He's got one rule. He broke the fucking one rule many times, and he's not sorry about it, and he fucking hates your guts. How about you throw him in jail like he should be? I understand that. Apparently, one of the Batgirls, Cassandra Cain, was also a murderer. Same with Damian Wayne. Has killed people. But Damian Wayne learned his fucking lesson almost immediately. And is interesting. And Cassandra Cain was raised by assassins, again. So it's like he has a reason to fucking... She's got to learn to not kill people. She started off in a kill people mood. But Jason was trained by Batman and then lost that. Lost the one rule. He became broken. And you gotta fix him now. You shouldn't just be like, well, he's broken, let's leave him there. He's gotta learn to fix himself and develop. But he doesn't. He doesn't develop and become a hero and atone for his sins. And he doesn't be a villain. And he's not a good anti-hero because he's just a dickhead. Frank Castle has a reason to kill people. Because he's a dickhead. And he also lost his wife, and he's like, I get revenge on mafia people. And I turn into Frankenstein, and also turn black at different points in my career. But Red Hood is just... Like, at least Punisher, you could be like, oh, Punisher's a product of the time that he was invented. They were like, we want something dark and edgy. And then he's just still here. There's your excuse for Punisher. And Punisher's not super interesting. But you could do interesting things with Punisher. Because he exists in the Marvel Universe. But I don't know. I think death is like, killing people is more of a thing in the Marvel Universe. But when you take that over to like, DC, it just comes off as like, he's this dumbass who just hangs out with everybody else. I don't know. That was my mini rant about Jason Todd. I think he's a piece of shit. What are your feelings on Jason Todd? Put it in the comments. I think he works best as a villain, and kind of shouldn't be talked about other than that. I think that Batman should regard him as already dead, and that this new person isn't Jason, and should be treated like any other fucking villain. That would be an interesting story. What are your thoughts on Jason? Leave it in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry about that. Sorry about that little rant at the end. It really had nothing to do with Harvey Dent, but... whatever, I think that was a cathartic time for us. And maybe it'll get you used to how my rants are going to be when the fucking shitty Joker episodes come up. Anyways, this video has gone long enough. See you guys.